Okay, Bob, it's my favorite time of the week. I'm so excited that it's show and tell and more so show and explain. You brought some very cool and interesting videos and images, and I'm ready to walk through it and really kind of get into the world of thermal spraying, just how it operates and how it works. So right out the gate, I think we discussed in a previous video how olive oil can somehow be affected by thermal spray. And that was fascinating to me, where I'm thinking, like, how do those two worlds collide? Let's break that down and kind of explain how that looks.
Well, I tell you, one of the favorite parts of my job is visiting customers and seeing these applications. And sometimes I am just surprised how they've developed processes that I wouldn't have predicted would have worked. And this is one of them. So this is an olive oil drum here, and it's in California. They produce a lot of olive oil there. And the way they make these olive oil barrels is they have to have corrosion resistance. So they start off with a galvanized sheet, which galvanized means it's been hot dipped in zinc. So galvanizing is another name for zinc plating, essentially. And we can spray zinc with thermal spray. So in this particular case, they form the outer part of this barrel. And when they do that, you see those ribs in there? That's all rolled in there from a sheet of galvanized steel. And then they roll it into a round shape, and then they weld it together. And when they weld it together, it reduces this, it takes the zinc off where the weld is. So it's no protection there, and you get corrosion. And you don't want your olive oil getting rusty, do you? So this is the actual rolled barrel that's shiny from the zinc. And they have it on here. That's the weld seam down the middle of it. And they're preheating it. So this is the thing that surprised me, that this would work so well. So they heat this seam up. So it's very close to the melting point of zinc. And when they're ready, they put it in the machine to do the spraying. And another part I loved about this is their semi-automation. They've automated the really critical parts of this process. So they have a timer. They know how long it takes to get up to a certain temperature. They time how long that barrel is on that heated flame. Then when it's at the right temperature, they'll put it on the thermal spray machine. So here he just picks it up and puts it over there, and it's on a little unit. It's a traverse unit. It'll take the barrel inside. Again, the important critical parts of the thermal spray operation is the speed that the thermal spray is occurring at, the voltage, the current, the spray distance. Well, they've automated those parts of the process. And you'll see there, he just turns it a little bit so when the pass comes back out, it changed where the pattern's hitting. So in some ways, you could criticize it and say, well, that's, still very manual. But I think it's ingenious. It's a very simple automation process that was inexpensive. It works. You're going to have the operator there anyway. He's engaged. And now we'll take a look on the inside, and you can see that weld seam we saw earlier. It now has thermal spray zinc on there. Now, they'll still put a clear coating on this so that it's going to be sealed for olive oil. And also there's a bottom that goes on this. I had another video of that. I probably should have included that. But they do friction welding on that. They actually spin this barrel onto the bottom that it's going to attach to, and it does a friction weld. And that does not disturb the zinc. The zinc stays intact. And then they'll do a clear coat on the inside of this drum. So that's what they do for food processing. You'll see zinc coming up in applications where there's food involved. And again, they'll put a protective coating on there to keep the any kind of metal contaminating the olive oil.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see it in this and be like, this is eventually going to be a food grade drum.
Yes.
Like how
Right.
is that's a fascinating process that the two can work together, where you're thermal spraying something and making it and sealing it, and then it's going to get a food grade a sealing later on down the line. What does that look like?
Well, it's a clear coat. It's an organic coating that's more like a paint. In fact, they might even be doing a powder coat with this. I'm not sure on this, but this was from a few years ago. But this particular customer has been doing this for a long time, and they comply with all the Food and Drug Administration rules and guidelines on what you can use for a coating that food can touch.
So would you say that thermal spray might actually affect how your olive oil tastes? Like, are we saying the best thermal sprayed olive oil drums can give you that high quality olive oil?
Well, it might be a stretch, but what the heck? Let's go ahead and say it. Who's going to change it, right? Who's going to challenge it?